So yesterday was my first outing, third day of owning the kayak. I've made all the modifications that I planned to make to it for a while. Wanted to go over and maybe do a little bit more of an in-depth review. Like I said, it started off its life as a Lifetime Triton Angler 100, $199 on sale, Blaine's Farm and Fleet here in Central Illinois. Ended up getting the paddle. It was on sale, 34 bucks. Got padded handles. It's pretty nice. It's not too bad, especially compared to some of the ones that I've seen us using at the rental place for the river kayaking. So came with the fishing rod holder. I, of course, added the fish finder. It's an old Lawrence 55A. Did pretty good the other day. I'm not so sure how well it marks fish, but it certainly marks bottom condition, depth, allows me to track as I'm moving through, looking at pockets, ridges, those types of things. Also, got a little bit of storage in here. The battery also came from Farm and Fleet back in the marine section. Real small, almost looks like a Power Wheels kind of battery, but holds a charge really well. Stock seat, as I mentioned in my earlier video, I was hoping to do an elevated seat using a old bleacher seat, the kind that you strap down on the bleachers so your butt doesn't hurt watching football games. But unfortunately, the kayak is not designed to take loads such as my large butt right here. It definitely wants to flex when it gets hot outside. So I decided I would just go with the regular factory seats. Pretty good. I was plenty comfortable the other day. Maybe throw a cushion underneath it every once in a while, but not bad. I am using the regular rod holders that came with it. They seem to work really well for my poles. I added the pontoon stabilizer or outrigger or whatever you want to call it. Certainly it's nothing more than a whole bunch of pieces of aluminum bolted together, making a stabilizing system, which worked excellent. I was able to stand and fish in it. Today I added my basket system that I saw several examples of online. It is just bungeed in, which is nice. I have my life jacket underneath it, so in case the Department of Natural Resources wants to ask me if I've got it, all I got to do is undo a couple of bungee straps and it's down under there. Lifts up. I can put things like my Camelback up in the top, have water right here at the driver's seat. Then the latching mechanism is nothing more than a couple of bungee balls I got from Harbor Freight. I can keep my tackle in there. Anything that I don't want to have rattle or fall out, like I said, it's pretty easy to get to and bungee back up. It's very light, so it shouldn't cause any problems being top heavy. Now, one of the things that I had to do, because the wonderful world of Walmart only offers one type of crate, and I didn't want to drive all over town since I've been to so many stores buying little parts and bolts and pieces. So I ended up buying two full-size milk crates. But I cut the top one down. I basically just cut about a 4-inch strip out of the center, and then I pop riveted the top onto here, making a tray, so I can just throw stuff in there, reach back and get it. And it works out really good. I also bolted on with a couple of well nuts and a little clip here. Again, another bungee ball to keep the paddle on the side whenever I decide to drop anchor and fish in the same spot for a while. That way I don't run the risk of kicking that into the water. So kind of why I wanted to redo or add this video was to get a better understanding of what the pontoon system is in case somebody's ever interested in going this route. I've seen a lot of really cool ones, and I'm not so sure this is the right one, but it was the right one for me. I don't plan on doing long distance paddling. I don't plan on going down rivers. I mean, I pretty much just plan on getting on small farm ponds, Department of Natural Resources lakes, things that are out of the heavy boat traffic. I'm not dealing with a lot of wake. I'm not dealing with a lot of rolling. So kind of a fair weather kayak made to, I was out in some pretty good water yesterday, and it really did hold up well. But so what it is, I took a couple of pieces of aluminum square stock, which are the unpainted pieces Those are attached to the kayak body on both sides using well nuts and 1/4-inch bolts. Then I ran a couple of 1x1 perforated steel angle plate, and then a 1-inch aluminum rod. So then from the 1-inch aluminum rod, I came out here to the true Outrigger and connected it with a U-bolt all the way through what was originally a piece of 3/4-inch aluminum. I was trying to do everything to keep the weight down because I'm a big guy, and the weight limit's on this 275, and although this does provide some additional flotation, I didn't want to overweigh it. So I ended up having to go with 3/4-inch. I was getting a little bit of bow from the guy wires going back, which allows me to adjust the tracking. But so 1/4-inch piece of steel U-bolted on, then some 3/8-inch all thread, I think it's about a 12-inch piece, screwed through, or actually bolted through. This piece here is double nutted. This piece here is double nutted. So the more I use it, the more I'll keep adjusting the individual pieces. I found on my first outing that the nose of this wanted to have a little bit of water roll up higher than the center point, and kind of my goal would be to not have a whole lot of wash over the top. I'm afraid that's kind of trying to pull it down and drag it. So additionally on this side, what I went with was just a piece of the leftover 1-inch aluminum tubing for U-bolts, another piece of 1-inch aluminum tubing with some plastic washers on each side, a nylock, and that's what I mounted my transducer to. To mount the transducer so it was able to be adjusted, I can just reach down here, grab this piece of rope. It's tight enough due to the nylock that this just stays up. And then when I want it to go down, I just reach back, push it down. This piece of rope right here is cut to length, so the water pressure against it holds it straight down. It's probably sitting about 10 inches below the bottom of the kayak, but deep enough that it's not getting a lot of wash or anything from paddling. It had a pretty good reading on the depth finder, so I was happy with that. And again, I've got the exact same thing over here. I ended up, when I put this together, I really didn't know what it was going to turn out like. So I ended up putting some non-stretch nylon cord. Now, I ended up buying lawnmower pull string cord for pulling a push mower to start. Didn't have any stretch to it, pretty durable stuff. So ended up just getting a couple of really small turnbuckles, mounting a chrome eyelet here to the back of the boat, just hardly above the water level, and tied those off. And in order to adjust the tracking, I can just adjust these back here. If I need the buoys to open up, I can adjust up here if I need the buoys to tighten in on the front. So a little bit of adjustment on the back, a little on the front. It's going to help me, really get it down to tracking. Of course, I can always bust these free. That'll allow me to adjust the nose pitch on it. And then again, you can adjust the height of the buoy itself. And I mean, these things are really pretty rigid. Sprayed them all with a plastic primer. Who knows how long it'll hold up. Paint's cheap, but certainly, didn't want them to look like white, busted up buoys. So, and again, the buoys came, they were left over from when this big boat here that I have stayed in a slip all the time. So that really does pretty much round it out. I mean, I'm probably into the whole thing for right around, 325, 350 bucks, something like that. Should work pretty good for what I want. I mean, certainly these Tarpon 140s at the low price of a little over $1,000 a piece are beauties. Loved them. I mean, the seats are immaculate. They're amazing kayaks, but they're just not good small water kayaks, and I don't own them. So it was nice to be able to put this together. I'll do a bunch of videos of us fishing out of them. I think that my son, who's big into fishing, will either get one of these or a sun dolphin angler. I'm not so sure. He's, of course, much smaller than I am, so I think he could use one of these without any stabilization and be just fine. So I'll keep everybody up to date with how it works, and I've really enjoyed watching everybody else's videos. So if you see this and you like it, let me know. Oh, one of the last things that I forgot to put on. I went to Harbor Freight and bought a collapsible dolly. This thing folds down. It had an aluminum plate on it. I chopped a V-shaped section out of it, wrapped it in foam. I'm going to throw a couple of bungee cords around it so I can move it. It's a little bit difficult to move with the buoys on it. So I thought for $23 on sale, the little rolling cart was about as cheap and functional as I could get. So, you know, one more thing. It's always one more thing. At least that's what my wife always says. So anyways, hope you like it. Thanks.